Welcome back again, everyone. I feel pretty confident saying that this seed, it has to be better than the last one. I mean, it just has to be. Right, Ethos?
I don't think you can get a worse seed. I mean, I'm still recovering after this. I don't know what the runners are doing now.
Yeah, I feel physically ill after watching someone have to go to horror. Anyway, welcome back. We have another match coming up between Jay Halcyon and Synyadriel, whose names we will probably mess up. So when you guys watch this back, apologies in advance. On commentary, I'm Gramelius again, and I'm joined by Athos. Yo.
Hi there.
So would you like to introduce one of the runners?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about Hal. So Hal has been playing this game for quite a while. He started running all skills about 7 months ago and has a very respectable time of 36 minutes. So I'm sure we'll see really good movement if he gets the skills he needs, of course. This is his second race in this tournament, actually. The very first was a doubles race when he lost by just about 10 seconds against another team. His teammate is Dr. Tuin in the Team Infinity Death Gauntlet, and I really can't wait for this match. It's going to be pretty close.
That's such a good doubles name, by the way. Infinity Death Gauntlet.
It's an amazing name.
I'm jealous. It's so good. Yeah, so that's Jay Halcyon, or Hal, or Jay, we'll call him something throughout the course of the race. On the other side, we have Syn. Syn has been with Ori for a little while now, and also has a little bit more randomizer experience than his opponent. Syn actually participated in last year's randomizer tournament, but unfortunately lost to Terra, the bully that he is, in the prelim round. See, I said that, and now I'm just watching tournament live. I'm waiting for Terra to respond. All right. Anyway, yeah. So I guess I'll toss back to you, Athos. What do you expect to see out of this race? I know it's sort of impossible to say before we've seen more of it, but
I feel like there've been too many awful seeds lately. The randomizer is called random because it's supposed to give random types of seeds. Good seeds, bad seeds, but we've only seen bad seeds, so I'm really looking forward to a good seed.
Me too. I hope we get double jumper. Honestly, I think playing a lot of randomizer makes you appreciate the little things, like getting freaking double jump, for example.
Yeah, I don't even care about early. Let's get double jump at some point.
You are not wrong. But we're about to get going off. I kind of like on Hal's screen, he kind of has his brand new file nicely covered by the two gold and completed files. So we'll be getting kicked off in just a moment. And I'm going to ask you the question that we always ask. What is your prediction for the first pickup?
Give me anything. I mean, really anything. Give me anything. Don't give me Swamp TP. I am tired of Swamp TP.
Yeah. It is really interesting, right, when you get those teleporter pickups without skill, because even if you get something like the Grotto TP, your options are usually very limited as far as what you can do in those places, which can be good in a way, almost. That's a keystone. It can be good because it kind of limits your options, but it can also be bad because it means you're almost certainly going to have to do later on.
Yeah, a lot of these things are actually what we call gotchas in Randomizer. They're these places that you wouldn't think of checking without any skills. However, they are in logic and they often contain progression. With Swamp TP, I believe it's the Horu Field's health cell should be in logic with no skills, and that place stumps players quite often. In Grotto, it's the map pedestal on the bottom, and if you don't know about that, you're likely to get randoed and lose a lot of time.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I like that you mentioned the term. This randomizer tournament, we actually put together, a gotchas document just for precisely that reason. Like, it can be difficult enough to, track everything that the randomizer throws at you, but then there are so many specific little bits of knowledge you need. I do want to take a quick moment. If you notice Syn is just like 2 or 3 seconds behind, that's because when the Rhino died, he actually intentionally paused and grabbed the experience. That's something I haven't seen other players do, and I kind of like it. I mean, it's like 2 seconds or whatever for like a little bit of early XP.
Yeah, it's a play some players decide to make. There's some players really focus on early experience routing, which doesn't really save that much time, but it's just a small optimization. It's really interesting to look at how players optimize the little things in the runs.
Yeah, I agree. We did pick up Glide, a pickup that we didn't even see even a little bit of in the last seed. So that's going to be a relief for both players, not only just for their general movement, but because when we go to Sorrow, which we'll definitely be doing at some point, Feather is super nice to have.
Definitely, Feather is really convenient skill. And actually, I would be expecting a pretty quick Wind Restored in this seed because they synergize quite nicely with each other. Wind Restored by itself doesn't really do anything, but with Feather, it allows you to float up to really good places.
Yeah, so I do hope that we'll see it. Like you said, it is kind of like... so far, Hal just a little bit ahead of Syn, not enough to be concerned about, of course. we also see Hal dipping into this area with a keystone, even though he doesn't have the map, which is not a bad play or anything. I mean, an item, and it could be something valuable. It can be very nice to get a map stone.
Wow, I was talking about good seeds, and this might just be the one. Charge Jump Feather opening. Wow, I haven't seen that in quite a while.
Those are two skills that are just so nice to have. I don't know to say that they're better than, something like wall jump or dash, but I mean, they're so nice. Charge Jump opens up so much. It gives you access to great verticality. Also an interesting split. What is Hal up to? He decided to turn around and go grab that ability cell rather than backtracking for it later. That's a small power play, but a bit of a power play nonetheless.
It's actually, yeah, sometimes you forget to check that later in the game when you get some sort of verticality. It really goes back to pinch you in a way, and you don't really want to do that. So Hal decides to just go there when he remembers it and grab it, make sure it's nothing really big.
Yeah, well, and I kind of like it too, because in this seed, I mean, we're not starved, right? We have glide and we have feather, but we don't have wall interaction. We're sort of low on keystone, so there's a number of skills that we still want. And so in a seed like this, I do sort of like the play to intentionally go out of your way to just make sure that you get as much as you can.
Oh,
wow.
Water vein.
That's insane. That's actually insane. I mean, that's something that Hal's going to... It's not going to give Sin a competitive advantage in the seed, but holy cow, is that a relief.
Yeah, definitely. We might even see an early Ginzo here coming up. They need some sort of wall interaction. I don't think they can do it right now, but soon enough. I mean, I can definitely see Ginzo coming up pretty early.
Well, I like that you said that too, because I mean, as we talk, in every single randomizer seed, whether it's this seed or the last one in terms of, good versus bad seeds, you have to get a number of things, including the water vein and the sunstone. So one way or another, you need the water vein just to get to the bash tree. But Ginso is actually a very dense area as far as pickups are concerned. And so I agree with you that seeing the early Ginso play is probably going to be pretty likely, especially given that we have charge jump in order to traverse the second room.
Yeah, I was just talking about how the randomizer wasn't being random lately, but I love this change up. Last seed, the Ginzo tree was the very last thing the runners went to, but this time it could come up very early on, and I like that change up a lot.
Yeah, me too. Sin has been having some issues, unfortunately, taking deaths. Nothing too catastrophic, but certainly not something they would want to see at this early stage in the game. Meanwhile, Hal is continuing around this area, got his charge flame. That'll be super nice for breaking blue walls, although we're kind of low energy, so that might come into play at some point.
Yeah. So what do you think is the correct play here, Grim? We're a bit starved, but not really. We don't really have any wall interaction. Where would you go from?
I would go get Bash, is what I would do.
I like that play. That's quite the play. Wow, what a seed.
Yeah, and how excitedly circling his mouse. But yeah, to answer your question, I would do... remember, we kind of remind everyone every single time, this is clues, which means that every 3 skill trees you unlock, don't count the one at the very top, that's Spirit Flame. Past that, every 3 skill trees unlocks a clue. As it turns out, we're not going to need the clue for the water vein, but generally speaking, if all else is equal, it's advantageous to try to rush trees. And so I like that Hal made his way to wall jump. I'm guessing he's going to, well, I guess he has options. He can go left. Nope, he's going to go down into Blackroot. I don't know what the better play is, like hitting Charge Flame Tree first or hitting Blackroot first, but you have to do both of them one way or the other. So I guess my answer is a bit of a non-answer. I don't know which play is objectively better.
I think if I was in that place, I'd definitely go up Charge Flame Tree, just because it kind of seems really logical. You just got Charge Flame, you can break the blue wall, you can climb up with Charge Jump. But yeah, Blackroot should work pretty well too.
Well, the other thing about going to Blackroot is you can get through all of Blackroot with a number of skills. Like even if you have only climb or only wall jump, you can get through pretty much all of Blackroots. But it can be incredibly nice if you get something like double jump or bash early to just traverse the area much more quickly. So given that split, I agree with you that ordinarily it's kind of nice to go to Blackroot second, because then you're more likely to find a skill. But the thing is that Hal already has charge jump, so this is already going to be a pretty easy traversal.
Yep, that is definitely true. So now that you have Bash, Sin has Bash now, where do you go? I'm really thinking about this right now. Do you go to Swamp? I think the whole map is wide open now. He can go almost anywhere he wants.
I think for my part, I would do the seed sort of linearly. I mean, we have Bash and we have the ability to break blue walls, which immediately means that heading around the Spider Sack area is intended, especially because with Charge Jump, you can get up through the Charge Flame area without burning additional keystones if you wanted to do that. Save yourself 4 keystones. That could come into play later on.
Yeah, definitely can. So right now, on the left side of the screen, we see Hal approaching the dash tree. He's going to do some platforming with the orb. A little bit of a slow selection is Blackroot, no one really likes it. There's this spooky laser that you need to watch out for, but he should be able to get there just fine.
Yeah, that's right. So Hal will be... This is an area that Sin has not done yet. He will do it. He has to. I mean, you have to get to the dash tree. But as we talked about, this is a seed that has a handful of options early on. I mean, I do like that since Sin has Bash, he's going to go out of his way to check some of these pickups. Spirit Caverns in particular is a very dense area with a lot of pickups, so I do like this play before going to Blackroots. What else? Hal doesn't have Bash yet, but he will be getting it very shortly because, as you said, from spawn, going to Charge Flame Tree is a very logical play, and there's no way in the universe he doesn't check the Bash plant.
Yeah, for sure. I expect him to be there soon, unless he somehow mismanages his energy and manages.
You joking?
Oh my god, is that a Sunstone?
That's a Sunstone. That's the glorious red text of the Sunstone that isn't returned. This is so incredible. Not only do we have both dungeon right now, I mean, but like all we have to do is just rush skills and rush to the end, right? Which
so
means
remember.
Yeah,
remember what Grim was talking about, that you should get clues quickly and look for clues. Well, that's all irrelevant now. The game mode, they have all the keys. You just need to go, get the trees, and get out of here. Dude,
that's perfect. You took the words right out of my mouth. This is amazing. Like, you always have to consider, when you're playing a randomizer seed, what are you looking for? Sometimes that isn't really meaningful, because, I mean, it's the randomizer. You don't know where anything is, but you can sort of make calculated plays as for where you think certain valuable pickups might be. And so those pickups usually involve skills or keys, most notably. Keys are just out of the equation. So at this point, like if we get a few more advantageous skill pickups, we're just going to be in a super fast go mode.
Yeah, I'm just looking for this wall interaction. It seems like a common theme when you get charge jump early that you don't really have any wall interaction. And that's a little bit annoying to play with, but where do you think wall interaction is, Grim?
I think I'm going to answer your question sort of by just coming back to something you just said, is because we have this verticality, the seed can go quite a long time without giving you wall interaction. So if I had to guess, it's going to be in Grotto, because we'll be able to get around to Grotto in its a very dense area, and we have Charge Flame to break plants. But it could be pretty much anywhere at this point. I do like that Hal, decided to go down in Boulder area, or Raziel No, as we call it sometimes, based on a meme from one of the other tournaments. He's going to grab this teleporter, and rather than, well, I guess he considered altaring, he's just going to back out, and I think Hal is probably going to go off to the left, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it. He might head to the Charge Flame tree now, as we were saying, and get bashed. Which he might feel a little bit behind after that, because it seems like a pretty obvious pickup. But I hope it doesn't ruin his morale too badly.
Yeah, well, the good news for Hal, again, he can't know exactly what Sin is up to, but the good news is that, as I mentioned earlier, Bash is a very nice pickup. The early keys are also very nice, but they're not a competitive advantage. Yep, Hal just has to quick grab some energy before breaking that plant. And I like this play as well. You see Hal intentionally go out of his way to pull that lever early with the knowledge that he will almost certainly need it. Wiggling his mouse in excitement. Ah, man, this is a friendly seed. This is a very friendly seed.
It is the friendliest seed. Now, give some wall interaction and even more friendly.
Yeah. I want to point out something interesting as well, and thank you to Skull and Neldon for sort of bringing this to our attention a little bit. It's possible that Sin forgot that he has Feather, which is something that is easy to do in the randomizer, but I wonder if that's what's happening here. Hal is at very low health. Be careful.
Grim was mentioning earlier how this health read can be helpful, and as you can see, he actually he has 0. Well, he doesn't have 0 health. He just has a really, really small percentage of health. And since he does have some health, so that health region that he got earlier on actually just saved him.
Yeah, it did. I guess that's something worth noting. If you play the game casually, you might not realize that Ori stores its health as a floating point, like a decimal value. It feels like an integer, but it's actually not. And that's evidenced by the fact that when you take damage or when you heal up, it actually gradually fills up. In regular play, you only ever are at a full health value or a half health value. But in the randomizer, like you said, you can be at what appears to be 0 health, but you're actually at 0 point nothing.
Yeah, so Sin was trying to check the dash plant with the charge jump, charge flame. I don't actually know if it's possible, but it looked like it was because it was very close. Unfortunately, he didn't get it and had to go down to Raziel no area.
Yeah, I want to check in with Hal as well. Hal is at rather low health, and he's going to have to be pretty careful. Also, energy is not an enormous problem, but it's, well, I'm going to interrupt myself. Look at what we just found.
And Stomp as well, are you kidding me? They can do Swamp Entry already, Grim. Swamp Entry at 12 minutes.
They can. They can also go left side, because all you need to go left side is Bash and Stomp.
Yeah, that's actually even the bigger deal. Almost the entire map is open.
Yeah, that's pretty enormous. Yeah, Hal did just find Stomp. And oh my god. Dude, I'm getting excited. I'm losing my ability to speak. Stomp is never, well, it's supposed to be required, but there are a lot of workarounds to most pickups, even if you don't have Stomp. But getting Stomp is very nice, not only because it gets you easier access to the left side of the map, but because it lets you break the floor heading to the light grenade tree, which without Stomp can be a bit of an ordeal. You have to do some silly shenanigans using the Frankie that's down there.
Yeah, and if the runners ever do get dash, it will open a really nice way to grenade tree.
So I guess let's pay attention. We see Sin going through an area that we predicted they would go to, Hal just being a little bit ahead. At this point, Hal, remember that he has both keys and he knows it. So he's just going to do everything he can to check as many pickups as possible in order to get the skills that he needs to finish the seed. And to be honest, as we look at this, and I'm going to toss this as a question to you, what skills do you think would be most valuable to actually be able to hit every skill tree?
I need to think about this one. This is a tough question. At this point, almost the entire map is open, yet it's not entirely open. There's still more things that can be found.
That's right.
I think Dash would be extremely nice. Dash is just such a great skill. It speeds you up a lot. It also allows you to get to grenade tree a lot easier, even though you can do it anyway. And of course, as we said earlier, wall interaction is always great to have.
That's right. I guess now might also be a good time to sort of reiterate that even though there are a lot of workarounds to a lot of things, like you said, we need Stomp to break the floor to get into light grenade area, but then there's a laser. Logically, you're supposed to have Dash, but there are several rather simple workarounds to make your way through that laser safely. I guess I wonder at the familiarity of all of the weird tricks you can do from either running. I will freely admit that I'm not familiar enough with either of these runners' play in particular to know whether they might have any issues.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but J. Hal actually decides to go up to the Ginzo tree, which is a play that we have predicted. What do you think of it, Grim?
I think it's a great play. I also want to quick check in. Sin did take a quick death. It's not going to be the most costly thing, but it is going to be a bit of a death. And we also see Sin in a rather peculiar situation of being where he is, having Bash and Stomp and all these nice abilities, but having no wall interaction. So when Sin fell in the water, he actually had to wait and just, kind of slowly get poisoned, since he didn't have any way to climb out.
Yeah, it's as if these walls were slippery. He just couldn't climb them.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Hal's play. Going to Ginso Tree, as we said, it's a very dense area. It is something you have to be aware of when you enter the Ginso Tree to make sure that you have enough keystones, because it's a very common gacha to be so focused on the routing and the skills that you have to forget that you do actually need a number of keystones as well to make it through. And you see what's happening to Hal over on the left? He doesn't have enough energy.
He doesn't have enough energy for this plant. Well, there's an energy right to the left of him. I don't know if he realizes. Go there.
I think he's also just waiting for his energy regen, and now he'll be able to go get some more energy. It could also be for later. He wants to make some of those saves. We also saw him immediately go into his ability menu and level up half price charge flame, which can be very nice to have. Quick death from him, not too costly. Meanwhile, Sin is heading into Horu Fields. This is something I think the hell skipped. It's grenade!
This was a bit of a power play, and looks like it will pay off. Bash grenade, always a good skill. And if he ever gets climb, he'll have access to this really cool trick called the grenade jump.
That's pretty amazing. I was going to say, grenade in or I should say can be a more impactful skill than you'd think, because there are a number of pickups in the world that are locked behind the grenade. In this seed, that's very unlikely to take effect because we already have both keys. But it's super nice. I mean, even right there, we saw Hal sort of have to wait on his energy. Sin isn't going to have that problem. He'll be able to break all the plants that he wants to.
Yeah, that is true as well. Grenade is just a really nice all-around pickup. Gives you verticality, gives you access to different places. Grenade jumps, a little bit of everything.
Gives you more verticality than charge jump, which can be important in certain situations, especially without wall interaction. I'll bring this back as well. You mentioned very early, where is wall interaction? Well, we haven't found it yet.
Yeah, it looks like they're making a divergence, so we're going to have a little search going on. Sin is going to be checking Grotto while Hal is traversing the Ginzo tree. Let's see if they find anything. Both are really dense areas, and they might find anything any minute.
I want to point this out as well. It's about this point in the race that I like to take a step back from the nitty-gritty moment details and it's on the higher state of the race. Sin has been taking several deaths, and some of them are kind of costly. So having Grenade is nice. It's hard to say that Hal is definitely in the lead, but it certainly seems like he's pulling away with it a little bit. Sin is just being a little bit more methodical, which, again, you can't ever say that being methodical is objectively wrong, because you never know what you'll find. Maybe we find like the Sorrow Teleporter or something. But in this seed, with the number of skills that we have early on, I do think I prefer Hal's play of being a little more tree-focused.
Yeah, I believe Hal is definitely slightly ahead. However, Sin does have Grenade, and maybe they'll Grenade-locked skill later on to get something. So really, this is anyone's game. Anyone can win this.
That's right. Well, I'll say one more thing. That's maybe a more hidden benefit of Grenade, is that when you have Grenade and Bash, and ideally Feather or Double Jump as well, you can do these rather lengthy series of Bash glides, which can save time very frequently if the particular runner is comfortable enough with Bash glides to perform them frequently. Just sort of a nice measure to speed things up. Sin, we even see going into the... This is an area that Hal definitely avoided. It is a nice area to go to if you're searching for pickups. As we discussed, it's basically sort of a difference in mindset at this point. Hal seems to be much more focused on rushing trees and checking a reasonable number of pickups, whereas Sin just wants everything that they can get their hands on.
I feel like Sin has been watching this tournament a bit too much, watching everyone getting randomed. He's like, I'm gonna check everything.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like Muffin just played in the last seed, right? And something Muffin told us beforehand, even for someone who is, arguably one of the best rando players that there is, that's not really arguable that he is, but even for him, he decided to be more thorough to try to avoid getting randoed. Granted, that last seed was pretty rough, but again, it's really hard to say that being thorough is objectively the wrong play. I think it's subjectively the wrong play, given the number of abilities that we have. Like Hal, for example, is just checking a handful of things and heading directly into Swamp. So Hal, before long, is going to get skill tree number 5, whereas Sin is, spending quite a bit of their time checking pickups that might pay off. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we really can't know.
Yeah, so he's gonna head down to the double jump tree. Looks like he still is interested in collecting things. It's not enough for him that he has almost all skills, and that's understandable. If he finds Dash, for example, right now, and Hal decides not to go there, he'll be far behind. So Sin just banking that he's gonna find something to make his seed more comfortable.
That's right. I do want to check in with Hal. He's about to get his skill tree in a moment. Quick death, but he's making some intelligent safety saves. I want to kind of draw attention to something else. There are so many little factors that you have to keep in your mind to play Randomizer efficiently. Pay attention to the health and energy of both runners. It's still pretty low, isn't it?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. We haven't thought of that. So none of the runners have clean water, which means they'll need at least 5 health to survive the final escape. So it's definitely kind of proves why they're digging. They need to find some health regardless.
That's right. And for those or less familiar with Randomizer, I should say, it might almost sound silly to be talking about the final 21 minutes into the seed and we still have to do the entire left side of the map. But given that we already have both dungeon keys, and we have Bash, and we have Stomp, and we have Feather, you'd be surprised at how quickly you can clear out the remaining trees, especially if you're lucky enough to find a left side teleporter. So I think that for these runners, they might very well be thinking about the final escape even this early in the seed.
Yeah, for sure. It always goes by really quickly. Before you know it, you're done. And these skills, it can happen really, really fast.
Yeah, so Hal is heading back into Blackroot. I think it should be pretty clear what he's going to be doing there. Actually, I was wrong. I thought he was going to go to Light Grenade. He's not. He's going to use the Blackroot teleporter for fast access to Grotto. That's a smart play.
Yeah, it's definitely... I think it's a bit quicker. He has the teleporter in there anyway. Ooh, and actually the laser cutscene skip thing. So the lasers are now going to be active, which is slightly annoying. And ooh, what did Hal get?
He got something. It rhymes with ball hump. It's wall jump. We're no longer wall interaction-less. This seed just went from good to slightly better than it was before. PogChamp. Our restreamer telling me to kindly stop talking.
Very interesting, actually. Sin spent so much time checking everything and didn't find almost anything useful, but Hal checks a couple pickups in Grotto and immediately gets walled. A little bit unfortunate there.
I mean, that's just so nice. Again, it's not that like Sin made the bad play. Sin has no way of wall jump. It's just like Hal didn't. But because Hal has wall jump, he skips so much. Like you saw Sin sort of having to almost struggle a little bit with a lot of these chains of bash grenades to make it through. Hal just doesn't have to deal with that. And in fact, this is very interesting. Hal is skipping pickups. What do you think of that play, Athos? Do you think that's smart, or do you think it's maybe a little bit too eager?
I mean, I think it's a pretty good play. He actually has 4 health, not 3, but 4. So he just needs 1 health cell, and he also is gonna have Sorrow to check anyway. The Sorrow has quite a bit of pickups. There's some pickups in Misty. I think he'll be able to find a health cell and maybe a couple abilities too. Again, it's really subjective. You can never know. I can say that right now, and then Sin will find Dash, and then everything that I said was wrong.
Yeah, Sin on the right just took another quick death. He's trying to make his way to the Stomp Tree. Unfortunately, without double jump and without wall interaction. Remember, Hal on the left has wall jump. Sin on the right does not. So Sin just doesn't have the luxury of, you know, being able to get that extra bit of ascension. Sin is just sort of having to be a little bit more cautious about things. And all the spikes around here deal 2 damage. So they're a little bit spooky.
Have you seen...
Go ahead.
Have you seen Sin utilize any double jumps? I have not.
Any double jumps?
Not double jumps, sorry. Double bashes.
I haven't, I don't think. I'll continue paying attention. This is where using double bashes could be extremely helpful. Yeah, we don't see Sin going for them. A reminder that we are playing on standard logic, and so using double bashes is never required. But there was a DLL change, like a custom change to the game's code made for the randomizer tournament that makes double bashes effectively free. You can just hold a button when you release the first bash, and you will always get a double bash. So it's still not in standard logic, but you'll see almost all players in the tournament utilizing it. But not Sin.
Yeah, maybe he's uncomfortable with it or something.
Yeah,
it can happen.
Yeah, so that could be problematic. We'll see. Meanwhile, Hal is heading off to the left. If you look at the skill wheel below Hal's screen over on the left side, we've already unlocked a number of skill trees, and all we have to do is go over to the left side. There's also the light grenade tree, but we'll come back for that later, I'm sure. I think, and I think you'll agree with me, that the limiting factor on the light grenade tree in particular is getting past the laser. We have Stomp, so the barricade isn't a problem, but we'll need to either do some trickery or find Dash in order to make it through.
Yeah, it's definitely the laser, and I think I've seen Hal just level up a bunch of skills, and one of these workarounds you can do there is something called Zombie Ori. It's when you kind of save after dying to the laser, and that respawns Ori with virtually no health, and you can keep doing it to get by. But now that he doesn't have the ability points, I don't think he can do that anymore, so he has to wait for either Dash, or actually, speaking of that, Sin does have Bash Grenade, and Bash Grenade is one of these ways that you can get past there.
It is, this is going to be an uphill battle for Sin. Not only Sin is a little behind, if skill wheel, Hal has already been to the Bash tree and Sin hasn't. So even though they're in a similar area, Hal is pretty definitively ahead at this point, but Sin still doesn't have any wall interaction, which means that a lot of these little vertical areas are going to be very difficult for Hal to move past, maybe even impossible without double bashes.
Essentially, this seed comes down to grenade or wall interaction. Which one would you rather have?
I'd rather have both. Give me every skill.
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah. By the way, Hal pulled off a very nice fast stomp little trick where you can deload part of the terrain in order to break the rocks in an unintended speedrunner way. With that, the feather comes down. This will be, I guess the feather's not a skill tree, but for the purposes of the rando, we consider it to be the same as a skill tree. Hal doesn't have that much more of the seed left.
Yeah, all he really needs to do is go up Sorrow, do Misty, and then Grenade, and that should be it.
What else? Look at how many ability points Sin has over on the right. It's double digits.
That is true. Maybe he'll decide to level things up. There's not much useful, because he doesn't have double jump, so triple jump doesn't help him. He also does not have dash, so charge dash is not useful. However, if he gets enough for ultra defense, that can really help him in the final escape.
Okay, so here's what I was talking about. Pay attention to the right side of your screen. Sin is trying to make it up this vertical area, but doesn't have wall interaction. Also, Bash Grenade is not going to be sufficient to get that high. You just can't throw your grenades high enough. And without double bashing, Sin has no way to get up there. So Sin can go over here to the left and grab the Valley TP, but even then, because they have the stomp skill, there's an invisible kill plane that's going to prevent either runner from going left until you break the rock. So Sin is going to be able to unlock the TP, which is nice, but it's not going to be very much in the way of progress.
Do you think he could have gone for the cutscene stack? I think it's possible with Bash Grenade.
Maybe, but to be quite honest, my impression is that for someone like Sin who is uncomfortable with double bashes, I think going for something as advanced as cutscene stack is unlikely to be something that they're going to utilize. You know what I mean? I don't say that to sound like insulting, just from a observational kind of standpoint.
Yeah, cutscene stack is a little bit of a weird trick. I'm pretty sure that if you kind of if you get it right and then you die, you soft lock because Kura just keeps killing you over and over and over again. So it's a finicky trick, and it's slightly risky to go for it.
Well, speaking of double bashes, take a look over on the left. Sort of flip your eyes to the other side of the screen. Hal is trying to get into Sorrow, and is going to use double bashes to do it. Has to use double bashes to do it. There's no other way around this with their current set of skills and resources. Almost. Nice job by Hal.
He gets it. This is a lot harder than it looks. Really nice job.
And I would expect to see Hal immediately drop a safety. And a health. That's actually incredibly valuable, because remember that in the final escape, once we get there, we're going to have to make it through the poison water.
Yeah, he's golden. He also ran some all skills. I'm not actually sure if he's comfortable with the 5 health swim. It's a little bit tight, but if he is, then he should have everything he needs for the final escape.
This is interesting to see as well. Can you quickly run us through what's likely going through Hal's mind in terms of, like, you know, what's he need to do in Sorrow and what makes it kind of more difficult than usual? If you, that was kind of an ambiguous, but what I'm trying to get at is that he does.
Yeah, what you do in speedrunning generally is that you rocket jump off,
we have
of this frog
frogs.
here. 2 frogs! Double the frogs, double the fun.
It's a frog party. It's not the kind of party you want to go to usually.
So, as I was saying, what you usually do is that you rocket jump off of that frog, and then you kind of bait its shot before the rocket jump. And this allows you to break the barrier up top. Ooh, looks like he's going to go for the Terra Break instead.
I like this. This is really smart. This is a 500 IQ play. The Terra Break, for anyone who's unfamiliar with all skills, is a trick where you can use save anywhere to artificially create a save just below a breakable barricade. And then if you die while a charge jump is active, when you respawn, there's effectively 1 frame of overlap where the game erroneously carries over your charge jump momentum, and you can use it to break barricades even though you had no earthly business being able to do a charge jump into something that high up.
Yeah, the alternative would be trying to bash the frog into a tiny micro ledge on that wall and trying to bait its shot. That's what we used to do in the vanilla game. However, it's extremely finicky, very not fun, and requires a lot of practice. Yeah,
it's very, very difficult. I will say, though, as well, to do this Terra Break trick requires that you die while going upwards from a charge dash. And as it turns out, there is... Okay, I was going to say I wasn't aware if Hal was aware of that spot, but he is aware of it. We will also have to see whether... Okay, it did work that time. Sometimes the precise location of the save to get a Terra Break to go off is... It's not that precise, but sometimes it kind of feels finicky. So I'm glad that it worked for Hal on the second attempt. Or third attempt, whichever one it was.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, you'd have to traverse all of left Sorrow to get there, which is a lot slower.
Now, would you look at this? Sin, by the way, is down in heading towards the light grenade area, or at least thinking about heading to the light grenade area. That's a rough death. Wow.
These walls seem to really be giving him a hard time. He just keeps sliding down everything. It's so unfortunate that he missed that wall jump. It's just really costing.
Speaking of missing wall jump, Sin is still missing wall jump, which makes all difficult things even harder. Sin is still also at only 3 health. Hal, through his exploration over on the left side, his journey through Nibel has gleaned him a total of 6 health so far, of which he needs 5 to finish the final escape without ultra defense. Sin is still sitting on 3. Sin needs a miracle, I think, to catch up to Hal at this point. Hal's just gonna, head into Misty, pretty much head right to the end of the game.
Yeah, it will certainly be very difficult. Since both runners have the keys, I don't expect there to be a very, very difficult hunt. Nothing is going to be grenade locked, because the keys, again, are already there, and he has all the skills he needs.
This is interesting as well. I guess we can sort of keep half an eye. I need everyone in chat to become a chameleon. Have one eye focused on each screen, because both runners are doing stuff that's interesting. Hal is heading into Misty Woods, an area that we need to enter in order to hit the climb tree, also checking just a handful of rather fast pickups along the way. Meanwhile, Sin is heading into this boulder area, an area that he skipped earlier, but Hal didn't. So I guess Sin can't activate the map alter, but is just going to try to find some kind of skill to help him along his way.
Actually, wall jump should be really, very, very close to here. He might get it right now. That would be huge for him.
Yeah. So that'll be a relief for him. So he should be getting that momentarily. Yeah, he'll be to get around down into Grotto. We may even see some frantic mouse movements once we get it. And with a map stone, we can check this as well. The map alter just gets us the keystone, which is not too valuable. Map stones or map alters, whatever you want to call them in this game, are a bit of a fetch quest. You get pickups based on the number of map alters you've activated in total, rather than which specific ones you activate. So Hal on the left has already activated 6. So we pretty much know from our perspective that we're not going to get anything too valuable from maps this seed, probably.
Yes, and he did indeed find wall jump. Moused around, just stopped for a couple seconds thinking, man, I've checked everything but this, and this had to be wall jump.
So the question now, of course, is what does Sin do with this new ability? Continue checking stuff, or Sin say, you know what, I have the skills that I want, I'm going to go to left side, I'm going to go to Ginso?
I think he definitely just rushes trees. I don't think he needs anything else. Now he can climb wall, longer slides down. He should have everything. I don't know how comfortable he is with the grenade tree pickup, but I think he should be just fine.
Yeah, I guess it is interesting that you mentioned the grenade might be obstacles to these runners in this seed. I mean, getting through like Sarabash is... Well, actually, I'm going to revise my statement. For Halcyon over there, getting to Light Grenade is going to be challenging because we don't have dash. He'll be able to do it through a variety of means, but it will be something to get past. Sin, without the ability to double bash, I don't know how they're going to do Sarabash.
I actually wanted to mention that Hal just got wind restored on the left in Misty. So if Sin decides to go to Misty first, he might find wind restored right there, and that will help him a lot.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. That'll help him a whole lot. That'll get him access to the chart. We do see Halcyon sort of hesitating for just a minute. Hal has every single tree now, as you can see in his tracker, except for the Light Grenade tree. Hal does have Stomp, so he'll have no issue getting to Lost Grove in general, but still has to make it past the laser. It looks like Hal only has 1 ability point, which means that I don't know whether it's possible to do a zombie Ori. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt myself. Sin just found double jump.
Wow.
Did you see that?
Jump, huh?
Is that
yes.
the... Yeah, it's top
Grotto.
Jokingly called the Glide Vault. It's just that 2 energy door in Grotto. That's very, very nice. Unfortunately, it's almost certainly not going to be enough to catch up to Hal. I mean, look at the difference in the skill trees, but boy, that's a nice convenience pickup, especially for someone like Sin who doesn't...
Oh, and the lasers I was mentioning earlier. That's a rough death right there.
Now, wait a minute. Sin just died and backed out. Did Sin get double jump before or after the save? Okay, they realized. Sin has to go get double jump again. Good.
Also, I'm getting word from the truck that we misspoke. Sin does not actually have Sunstone.
Oh. That's important. That's pretty important, I think. Thank you, Truck, for telling us that. Okay, so Sin has even more of an uphill battle than we thought. So let's sort of take stock, and actually I'll ask this to you. Again, we sort of just covered this, but what is left for Hal? What's between him and a victory?
Again, it's that one annoying grenade tree. He has one ability point, maybe two now. Yeah, two. I don't know if it's possible to do with two. Two ability points to Zombie Ori. He does not have double jump, which helps a lot, and he also does not have dash. So it seems that all the abilities that tremendously help with grenade tree, he just does not have.
Sure. Well, I mean, and the other thing too is if with the fact that Hal has ultra defense, if Hal was lucky enough to find double jump, he would immediately triple jump. But it seems very, very unlikely that he goes back to that 2 energy area of all places, not when he's this close to finishing.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go for it. Really look at the left side. He's about this trick. Let's see how he approaches it.
I think he's gonna have to go for the zombie ore. Yep. So he's gonna wait. He's gonna run as far left as he can, spend in a point, and then die. He's again, and spend another point when he can, and he is through.
Well done.
That's very important because if Hal hadn't pulled that off, that could have been some kind of weird Twilight Zone episode where you're stuck in a laser that perpetually murders you.
Yeah, this is essentially a soft lock. Fortunately, Ori does have backups, but there's no knowing how far back the backup was, so it might lose quite a bit of time.
Yeah. That's kind of shocking. Like, that went fine. That could have turned out... Now Hal have to watch a cutscene that one never wants to watch because he's... No, he doesn't. He has an ability point. What am I talking about?
Did he just get one?
I think he just got one.
Wow, that's fortunate.
That's very fortunate. This is a long cutscene. Getting that ability point probably just saved him 50 or 60 seconds.
Oh, he looks like he leveled up, so he got some experience. That's nice.
Okay. Crisis averted. We don't get any lore today, but that's fine. We play this game to go fast, not to get lore. At least not in this particular instance. That's the last tree for Hal, as you can see by his green text in his Alt-P screen. 10 out of 10 trees. He's going to go to the end of the game. There's no way he doesn't.
Yeah, he has everything. He has the health, 6 health, 5 health, 6 health. Almost makes it trivial. He had no problems finishing the game.
That's right. To get to the end of the game, it's fastest to teleport to the swamp teleporter and then go over to the left. The swamp TP is something that Hal definitely would have unlocked this seed. And it's kind of funny, we have not a high five situation, but like Hal is teleporting to an area that's very near where Sin is in their sort of parallel universe world of Nibel. Sin is just heading into the Ginza tree, so it's going to have to go through. And if you look at the skill tracker, still has to do pretty much the entire left side, and is going to have a much harder time of it than Hal did due to not having the comfortability with double bashing.
Hey, I'm predicting it right now. He's going to go to Misty, he's going to get Wind Restored, and everything will be fine.
The thing is that he probably will do that, to be honest, because if you have the ability to double bash, then it's sort of a crapshoot as for whether you do Sorrow first or Misty first. But from Sin's perspective, it will make a lot of sense to do Misty first. And given how thorough Sin has been so far, I agree with you that he will probably find it.
Yeah, so we see him traversing Ginzo tree. He's gonna go. Looks like he has enough keystones, so that shouldn't be a problem. I've often done that mistake myself, and oh look, I'm done. I just have to go to Ginzo, and then I see that I have 3 keys, and then it's painful, and I cry.
I've certainly never done that. Like, I didn't just do that like yesterday or something. Cool. Well, let's check in with our left side runner, J_Halcyon, has made it to the doors of Mount Horror. He'll be heading inside. There's a plays, and the game will autosave, and then Halcyon is going to use a filthy cheating speedrunner trick to skip the whole dungeon.
How long is it going to take him, Grim? I think first try.
It's going to be first try. Hal's a professional. It's first try. Okay, that doesn't count. It's still going to be first try.
Alright, you know, I'm going to stop predicting that. I think every time I say it's first try, it's not going to work.
I think the game probably lagged twice. Okay, so that third try doesn't count.
Alright, we should make a GoFundMe with the computer, help this guy out.
Yeah, okay, so that was the first try, since the other ones didn't count. So good job.
Nice job, Hal. Nice job.
First try to warp.
It is a frame perfect trick.
Yeah. All right, cool. So Hal's starting up the final escape. And I guess, Athos, looking at the skills that Hal has, is he going to have any issues making it through?
There's only one way he will have an issue, that if he forgets. He does skills, In all skills, you do it in a very specific manner. If he forgets that he doesn't have climb, or forgets that he doesn't have double jump and attempt to double jump just because of muscle memory, he might die. But if he kind of steps back and thinks about it, it should be pretty simple for him.
Yeah, I guess I will sort of direct attention. Interesting, by the way, that Syn, that's worth paying attention to, but more to the point, Hal is coming up on probably the most difficult part of this final escape for him right now, which is making it through here. This won't be too bad. He just has to... Well, see, right now he's actually...
Did you see how he held a feather? That's exactly what I was talking. Trying to climb up that... Do the...
Yep.
I've never done that before.
It's very, very easy for any player in a randomizer to think, oh crap, I'm so used to having this ability in a particular spot that your muscle memory takes over. Usually it only takes 1 or 2 deaths before the muscle memory sort of kicks it, or doesn't kick in, and you remember that you don't have that ability. This is going to be one thing for Hal to get through alive, but if you notice before when Hal took damage, he actually intentionally stomped down into damage, and that's because remember that the water is still poison. So Hal, since he has Ultra Defense, I think can get damaged 1 time and still have enough health to survive the Poison Swim, but he can't take damage twice.
Does he have Ultra Defense, actually?
Why, I thought he did. If he doesn't, then he can't take any damage at all.
I don't believe he does. So, yeah, he must not take damage. I'm sure he'll be able to do it soon.
The good news for Hal is that he... the good news for Hal is that he can make it through this without taking damage, assuming that he sort of remembers the method to do it. There are all kinds of little methods you have to learn. In this case, it would be break the wall and... Perfect Hal. Break the wall and then wall jump off again to bait a shot. Made it through without taking damage. Now Hal definitely has enough health to survive the Poison Swim. He is going to have to be a little bit careful at the end, as always, to make sure that he doesn't spawn Kuro and face a sort of groppy kind of end. But yeah, he's okay.
Oh, you were right, Grim. He does have Ultra Defense. So he was able to swim through quite easily.
There was never any doubts. He had the Ultra Defense within him all along.
And he looks like he finishes. So GG for Hal. He'll be winning this race.
That's a good showing. I think Hal played that seed very, very well. In a seed like this, it's usually a question of how comfortable is the runner with various kinds of backups, such that they can start skipping pickups as quickly as possible. That's sort of the state you want to hit in a randomizer seed, I think. And I think that Hal, for the most part, did a very, very solid knowing when to be thorough and when to just rush to the end, and showcased some nice knowledge of things like Zombie Ori to get through the tougher spots.
Yeah, certainly. Those tricks are not easy, and they take time to practice, and it's great to see those runners executing them the way they do.
Mm-hmm. Also, I like this green Ori. That's kind of a nice color. You don't get to see that often.
Pretty nice contrast.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, so Hal will be finishing up shortly. He just has to continue holding right. As always, we'll see whether Hal would like to talk to us, and if so, then we'll pull him in for an interview shortly. So I guess we'll focus back on Syn in a minute. I just want to make sure that we get that final time for Hal. Kind of give him the proper GG that he deserves. Get up, Naru. You're wasting precious seconds.
Alright, this run is invalid. No optimization. Come on, Hal. What is this?
45-38 from Hal. That's a good time. That seed was quite generous. Not as generous as it could have been. For example, double jump was in not an location and we didn't get dash. But all in all, that was a pretty kind seed, especially compared to the last one. GG to Hal. We'll see if he wants to join for an interview. Meanwhile, what is Syn doing? And this is kind of exciting, actually.
Yeah, he's about to find out that all his fears of going to Sora are about to be cleansed. The wind restored.
Now, please make a save. Please make a save. I'll say this. Throughout this seed, Syn, I think, has been taking a number of rough deaths. And right now, Syn's health is low enough that he will die first shot from many of these things. And so I hope that Syn has the awareness to make a safety save. With Bash and everything, should be okay. But this is...
Syn's fine. He's an experienced speedrunner. He's not going to die here. Who dies here?
I don't know that anyone's ever died in Misty Wood. In any category of the game.
Nah, he's fine.
Syn also does have health regen, so you'll notice that his health back pretty slowly, but all the spikes are do 3 damage, and most of these projectiles do 2, which means that I don't know if Syn is at 2 health or 1.9. All right, they actually are above 2 health, so that's okay.
And there's the save you were talking about. He is fine.
He's fine. Sin is just going to continue checking pickups. Remember that Sin doesn't have the Sunstone, and to be quite honest, Athos, I haven't been paying even the slightest attention to clues. Because in my mind, I just thought we have both keys. Who cares?
Right? It seemed like everyone just got them, but looks like he didn't. I don't actually remember the clue either.
I have no idea. I don't know if we have the Sun. We're failing as commentators.
Okay, you know the first rule of commentating: if you don't know something, you blame the truck.
Yeah, the second rule of commentary is I don't know where I was going with that. Some kind of bad joke, I'm sure. Sin is the good news is that when Sin hits the we will get that automatic sort of information screen that you can ordinarily activate by pressing Alt P, and we'll be able to see what the existing clues are. Where was the Sunstone? This is something that I should also know. Oh, that's rule number 2 of commentary. Don't tell everyone when you forget something.
I know where it is. I just don't want to tell you. Come on, viewers, pay attention.
Pay attention, everyone. This is commentary 1. The good news is that Sin has double jump, and stomp it. All right, it's dead. The good news is that Sin has double jump and feathers. Thankfully, that's kind of rough, but heading through these sections is not going to be too costly. Sin, again, is taking a handful of costly deaths.
Yeah, and actually, we got word from the truck that this Sunstone was in the mapstone near BRB, so I assume it's the place with the crusher. So maybe Sin is not comfortable with that trick that allows you to go there without dash, and so he decided not to check it.
Now, that's actually potentially rough. I guess I keep saying the good news. I'm feeling like the professor from Futurama. At some point, Sin will get the clue for Sunstone, right? And when the clue says Blackroot, Sin is going to have some options as for how they decide to go through and traverse the rest of Blackroot. I think checking that mapstone early on is going to be valuable. But then, on the other hand, since Sin didn't check it early on, like you said, maybe they're not comfortable. And if they're not comfortable, then, oh boy, they need to find Dash, and we have no idea where Dash is.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared that he's going to forget about that pickup and go down to Lost Grove. Really, having a clue in BRB is never a pleasant sight, because you never really know where it is. BRB is quite big, it includes the Lost Grove. So, yeah, I just hope that he remembers.
I hope so too. Sin continuing to take a handful of deaths, but is going to persevere forward. Not too much longer to the climb tree, thankfully. And let's look at this. If you look at the skill wheel in the bottom right, apart from the very tip top, which is Spirit Flame, we've activated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 skill trees, which means that either we have the Sunstone clue already. Like I said, I just haven't been paying close enough attention because I sort of, in my mind, marked off the keys already. So either we have the clue already, or we will be getting the clue not after this tree, but after this tree in 1. And with Wind Restored, Sin will be able to hit the Charge Jump tree without too many issues.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain the clue is actually 9th tree. So yeah, he's gonna find out after getting... I don't know if he's gonna go to Sorrow after this, but if he is, then he should get it after Sorrow.
Mm-hmm. Also interesting to note that Sin is still being extremely thorough, you know, really took the time to check that one pickup. I think Sin just doesn't want to get any more randoed. Wants to make sure that if the Sunstone is in that spot, then they'll find it. Of course, we know where the Sunstone is, but Sin does not.
Yeah, again, I don't know how comfortable he is with the entry to the grenade tree. He might not be, and in that case, he really, really wants Dash right now, so he might be a little more thorough.
I mean, there's also Light Grenade to consider. That even if the Sunstone was somewhere else, Sin is going to have to make it past that laser to get to the Light Grenade tree one way or the other. And the logic expects you to have Dash. Looks like Sin is even going to continue through the second half of Misty Woods just to make sure that he doesn't anything.
Yeah, it looks like he really, really wants Dash.
I guess I'll ask you this, and this is, again, something we've sort of already discussed, but do you think that Sin can use any information to mean where Dash may or may not be? Or is it just a case of you kind of just have to search and try to find it?
I don't really have much of an idea of where it could be, honestly. So yeah, maybe some searching. Maybe he's gonna pull up some videos, tutorials, gonna check out how to do that zombie Ori, he's gonna do it.
Sure. Well, while Sin is doing this, we do have J House ping him, make sure he does not caught by surprise when you pull him in for an interview. So Athos will sort of let you, I don't know, maybe talk about what Sin is up to at the moment, what they may or may not find while I double check there. I think we will be getting Howl in for an interview in just a moment. I'm certainly curious to hear about some of those decisions that he made. Sin, by the way, continuing to be pretty methodical, heading down to the bottom of Valley, now heading up to the top. That Wind Restored find is very, very valuable.
Yeah, so now he's going to have a very easy way to get to Sorrow Pass. He might do some deep digging there as well to try to find that dash. And also, he still needs another health cell or Ultra Defense to finish. So digging is definitely an option that he kind of just has to do at this point.
Sure. Well, with that, while we sort of join Sin on their glorious, maybe not so glorious journey through here, that's a nice health cell. I'm going to go ahead and pull in J Halcyon. Hey.
Hello.
GG on your victory. How are you feeling?
I'm still coming down off the adrenaline. I felt like I was digging way too much on everything, and after finishing out that escape and just got to the point where I was holding right and just staring at SRL chat like he's gonna finish any second now, any second.
Well, you kind of answered my question. I was going to say, like, as you went. But yeah, then I guess you did already answer that question for me. So I guess tell me a little bit about your routing. Like, given the skills that you guys were given early on, at one point in the sea, did you feel comfortable skipping pretty much everything?
It was before I got wall jump. When I got wall jump, heading into Lower Grotto through Blackroot, that was gravy for me. I think charge jump was about when I said, okay, I can just go from here. It's gonna suck in a couple places, but I can do it. And then wall jump was icing on the cake.
That was icing. It's nice, very tasty icing. That must have been just a big relief to find.
Oh yeah, charge jump with no wall interaction. Any seed with no wall interaction is just a little bit painful. A lot of things that you count on being able to do in this game, because from the very beginning of every run that you do casually, the first thing you get is wall jump. Depend on having the ability to climb up walls, and without that, it's just really tough to navigate.
Well, you're not wrong there. Athos, I think I'll toss over to you.
Yeah, so I actually want to talk about that nice zombie Ori you did to get to Light Grenade. And if I remember correctly, you did not back up that save, so you had only 2 ability points. How confident were you in that trick? Because otherwise you'd have to revert to some backup, and that could lose a lot of time.
I'm pretty comfortable doing zombie Ori on that laser now. I've done it quite a bit in the past couple weeks, so I'm not terribly worried about not being able to get it.
Yeah, and also after that... Oh, sorry.
I was a little bit concerned that I was going in with only 2 ability points and might have to watch a very long cutscene there right before the grenade tree, but thankfully the XP orb there on the right-hand side was enough XP to level me up.
Yeah, we were all bracing for impact when we saw that you don't have anything, and then suddenly you have an ability point, and lore skipped, I suppose.
We were both sort of surprised. Like, I was like, oh wait, it doesn't have it. That's... what am I going to say? That was a pretty strong showing. That's got to feel kind of good as well, I guess. To give you an actual question, are you satisfied with the way that you play that seed, or looking back, would you have done anything drastically different?
I felt like I dug a little bit too much, but that's pretty minor. Like, I don't think I did it a whole lot more than I needed to. I think the big thing that if I could have to do over was I mismanaged my ability points a little bit there, and so ended up kind of getting lucky finding the one ability cell hidden over by Gumo. And because of that soft lock on the bridge, because I'd already dropped down to the map stone earlier, it was kind of a thing where, okay, if I'm going to get out of here this way, I have to spend an ability point, and I'm trying to save them right now, so what am I going to do?
Sure. I have more questions. I just want to quickly check in. And that Sin is making his way through Sorrow, actually deciding to open up the keystone door and bring down this tumbleweed to get across the lasers. And
okay,
oh my god, did you see that?
Oh, that looks like an out of bounds to me.
I think the appropriate term is please clip. That's unbelievable. I have never seen that. How did you by chance pull up the stream?
Yeah, it just caught up to that. I've seen that a couple of times before. Actually, the first time I saw it, my roommate, who was also my teammate in doubles, showed it to me, and I went, "Oh, that's neat."
I've never seen that happen.
Then I had to tell him, sadly, he won't be able to use it in the tournament if it comes up.
Played Ori for 3.5 years. I've never seen that. So Sin is just going to have to work back around. But I guess how I also just want to ask, we talked about zombie Ori, but how comfortable are you with sort of a lot of the weird tricks you can do in this game? You seem to have, no hesitation doing double bashed, sorrow bash and all that stuff.
I first got into this game like as an actual runner during the All Skills tournament, but before that I had been exposed to the game through GDQ runs, and since those started back in vanilla, double bashing was huge, and so that was kind of the thing that it was like, this is a really cool trick that I want to be able to do when I started running, and the rando DLL giving a little bit easier time on that is just gravy on the cake. I mean, people who watched me during the All Skills tournament will remember that I tend to double jump or double bash a little bit excessively even sometimes.
Is there really such a thing as too much double bashing? When it really comes down to it.
If you kill the thing you're double bashing on before you're done with it?
You know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. I want to ask you another question because I'm just sort of curious. You are not only in the singles tournament, of course, you're also in the doubles tournament.
Yeah.
How, if in any ways, do you think your practice differs between practicing for those?
Singles is a format I'm a lot more comfortable with because I've had more time playing it. I kind of took a bunch of time off from playing any standard Ori after the All Skills tournament. I kind of burnt myself out pushing times there for All Skills, and so I played a lot of rando over the summer and over the spring. And so, single clues is something that I'm very comfortable with. The communication aspect of doubles is something that Dr. Zuan and I are still working on quite a bit. Thankfully we're in the same room, so we have the ability to, go, when we're sitting there trying to communicate where a thing is that we just picked up, I can just, sometimes just go here and, he can look at my screen kind of thing. But
yeah, I forgot until you just said that. I was told, but I forgot until just now that you guys are in this place. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really nice for, I think it's almost a little bit of an edge, just kind of having that ability to not have to go through like a stream cutout and, go through a voice over IP service to even talk to each other.
Yeah, totally. Well, Athos, do you have any other questions for our Victor?
Before I want to move to the questions, I just wanted to mention that Sin just got the that Sunstone is indeed in Blackroot, and he seemed to just pause a bit and think, and he's looking at the map right now, trying to understand what happened.
Maybe it was as simple as he forgot to. What happened is, you remember where the Sunstone was past the map stones near the dash tree?
Yeah, behind the crushers.
Yeah, Sin didn't check that.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure if it was just I'm trying to recall back whether it was a case of not being comfortable or whether it was just a simple sort of, brain fart to forget it. I think it was the latter, because we do see Sin heading back into Blackroot over there now. So hopefully Sin will remember that they didn't check that mapstone, and as a result be rewarded with a nice tasty Sunstone. I guess on the topic of keys as well, sort of one more question I have for you, and I feel like all the questions I'm asking are how did you feel? But I mean, how did you feel getting both keys that early, and did it change your routing knowing that you didn't really have to rush trees anymore?
It totally did. You get both of the keys that you need that early in the game. I think it was like, 8, 9, maybe 10 minutes in when I got the Sunstone, and that was my second key. And yeah, having both of those in your pocket is just really, really nice for looking forward into the game and going, okay, I can I'm in a little bit of clear mode rather than needing to just rush trees for, come hell or high water.
Yeah. It's rare that happens to find all the keys that are super nice.
It is. It really is.
Cool. Well, I think I'll ask again if there's any other questions. Otherwise, Hal, thank you for talking to us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Congrats on your win.
Yeah, that was cool. Good showing too in your first singles. Cool. So to focus back in on the right side of the screen, Sin has you stopped to get down to this area. This is the final boss of the video game. Making it past this, thankfully, Sin has 26 abilities.
All right, I just want to run down that laser and just click. Please do it. It's gonna be beautiful.
I'm literally leaning back. I'm at 26.
Does he know?
That's yeah. I think they did
know.
though. Just waiting. I was gonna say this can be. You can like mess up your zombie Ori like 12 times in a row. Yeah, might not be with how this trick is done.
Oh no, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, so they're actually stuck in a death loop right now. The only option is to reload a backup save. And the way that Ori backs up saves is that I have no idea how it backs up saves.
Yeah, whenever you want it to save, it doesn't. When you don't want it, it does. I think that's pretty accurate.
That's pretty reasonable, though, as far as backup saves are concerned. That's just going to take a few seconds to get back down there. This is what we described, or more accurately, what you described. Is Sin comfortable enough to know how to do zombie Oris?
It seemed like he dropped his save anywhere, tried to reload or something. I'm not quite certain.
I mean, 26 ability points. You can't get a much zombie Ori than that. Hell, just open up like every single tree at that point.
He could probably still do it with double jump, actually. And he has bash grenades, so he doesn't really have to do this.
Yeah, there are a number of options. It's only a question of what does Sin know how to do, and even if Sin knows possible, what are they comfortable with? Okay, see, this is looking nicer. Satan just can continue spending points. Made it through.
There he is. He got it.
Good job. See, that was really cool to watch, to be honest.
No, don't do it! Don't do it! No!
We're watching. Wait. There's an ability set. We might not have to watch the cutscene.
I'm pretty sure that's XP, right?
Is it? Is it? Oh no!
Okay, so remember we said there's no lore? We were wrong.
All right, let's talk about the lore of this game. So this game takes place in Nibel Forest, which doesn't have any eyes, which is why it's blind. And rather than getting laser eye surgery, it decides that a little leaf creature is going to go trek around the whole freaking world while the spirit tree sits there being super lazy and being no help at all and judging us for what we're doing. And Ori, meanwhile, has to work hard and go through all these dangerous pickups. And then there's a father who's really judgmental. And that's all you need to know about Ori's lore.
That's the best Ori explanation I've ever heard. Nice job, Grim. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna watch it. I think it's happening.
You see Sin waving his mouse around, hoping for an ability cell that will not. Wait! Don't die. This won't help you. Oh man, right. That's actually amazing.
Sit back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to hear a tale.
Here we see baby Naru playing with two Oris. Remember that Ori is not the only, but one of a collective of Oris. The camera pans to the left as baby Naru, or the ghosts of baby Naru, and the two Oris roll off to the left, playing and having a fun time. In a moment, we'll see the ghost of Naru Dad, called that because they are the father of Naru. Thank you for the instant replay, Tara. Walking over, afraid of the Oris. Maybe he doesn't understand them. Maybe as a child, he had poor experiences with the Oris. And as a result, being the overprotective father that he is, picks up baby Naru in just a moment, looks over there, wanders over, looking for his lost child, picks up Naru, and runs away. He only wants what's best for Naru, even if his care is misplaced. Meanwhile, the baby Narus drop their soccer ball, it rolls away. They're gonna have to find a new keeper. And away we go. This has been Lori and the Blind Forest.
Truly a sad story. But regardless, Sin did make it at the end. He's gonna get his last tree.
Alright, you can take the rest of the commentary. That's...
Yeah, now he's just... all he has to do is head to Horu and finish the game. He has plenty of health cells. He should not have any problems finishing the game. He can take a lot of damage and still be completely fine.
I'm so glad we got to watch that, dude.
It had to happen eventually, right?
Yeah. Well, Sin has now activated all 10 skill trees. It's going to go back to Swamp. Certainly a more difficult time than his opponent had, but nice job sort of adapting. Like, I don't know if I finished my thought before, but I think that Sin maybe was not fully comfortable with how to do Zombie Ori. You know, and so you could see them sort of hesitating and at first saving the point, exiting and reloading, sort of revamping the old save and then coming back.
I actually wanted to mention that in his comments about the race. He said that in his race against Terra back in 2017, he has done several tricks that he kind of made up that he did not know were tricks. And in this race, he seems to have kind of taught himself how to do Zombie Ori, even though it didn't seem like he was comfortable with the trick at all. So great adaptation from Sin for sure.
Well, it's a great adaptation too, because as we discussed, the alternative, I mean, there were a few, but like, if you didn't use some kind of trick to make it past that laser, the alternative is to search the entire map for dash, which could effectively be anywhere. I mean, not literally anywhere, but it could effectively be anywhere.
Yeah, at this point, Rando turns into 100% category, and then you just hope, you pray, and go around. All we know, dash could be somewhere in Horu, and yeah, you'd never want to go there.
Never, ever, ever.
As we learned in our previous match.
The good news, my god, I need to stop saying that phrase. Sin is going to have an easier time with the final escape than Hal did. For Hal, it wasn't too bad, except that Hal had to play it a little bit safe with that one sort of pre-lantern column, you know, to not take a bunch of damage at the bottom. Sin has double jump, along with everything else that Hal had, and so Sin is going to have... should have no issues going straight through. Can use Charge Flame to break all the barricades and such.
Yeah, he should be fine. I wonder if he'll do the same little climb little thing that Hal did. I don't know if Sin runs all. I don't have any times on the leaderboards, but I don't know what his regular routine for doing Horu, or Final Escape rather, is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we see Sin taking a bunch of attempts. I believe we're still on the 0 with attempt. All right, so didn't get it first try. So we'll just wait a moment and see if they can get it on their first try. All right, not first try, but that's okay. They still have a chance. It's first try.
There it is.
Can you believe it? A double first try in a race, live on Speed Gaming 2.
I mean, we have the best runners in here. We all do it first try. I mean, how could you ever fail Doorward? Let's be real here.
You can't. I mean, all you do is press up at the right time and not the wrong time. How hard?
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't get these people. Just press up.
It's that easy. It's one button press. Now, the trick is actually hard. I mean, it is frame perfect and 60 FPS game, so that's a small little window you have to press the button. But Sin is onto the final escape. When you activate this Warmth Returns thing, you get a full health and energy refill, which is kind of nice. You don't need to worry about maintaining energy or anything like that. Sin still doesn't have dash, so I'm guessing that the traversal through this area is going to be a little bit on the slow side, just you know, without the ability to dash all over the place. But otherwise, I can't imagine it being too problematic.
No, I think he'll be fine. He has all he needs to complete it. Vanilla, I'm sure he played some vanilla. He should be able to do it. He's been here for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's what I was talking about. Broke that barricade with Charge Flame and then was able to feather and double jump to quite easily avoid the damage at the bottom. Sin also doesn't have clean water, but has ultra defense. I mean, as you saw by the spammed ability points after the BRB laser, definitely has ultra defense. Can use charge jump, can use feather, can use double jump. That's actually going to spawn Kuro, but that's okay.
He should still be fine though if he just doesn't fall and bashes all the boulders. Yeah, he's good.
I mean, we can't do GG. We couldn't do a grenade jump there anyway because they don't have climb. So that's not really much of a loss, just a small time loss. Yeah, GG though. Finishing it out strong despite some rough deaths and despite maybe some questioning about where to go.
Yeah, for sure. He tried to get dash, realized that he's not getting it, and decided to bite the bullet and just finish the game with the limited skills.
Cool. So looking back as we wait for Sin to finish up, I always kind of ask this, and sometimes it feels like a meaningless question, but what do you think that Sin maybe could have done differently to knock that time down?
I think he got unlucky at one point when he was full clearing Grotto and he didn't find. He didn't check that one cell that he usually check, He took a little bit of a weird path from Swamp, and it kind of cost him. But I mean, you can't really blame anyone for it. You can't check all the pickups, and sometimes you just miss the one that matters.
Yes, I believe we call that getting randoed. This seed is the term randoed is kind of a made-up term, but usually we describe it as like you didn't really do anything wrong, like you said, and you just sort of missed an important pickup. This seed, well, I guess there's kind of no point for you and me to overanalyze it. That's something that Sin can decide to do. GG to Sin. The timer didn't stop, but I think that was a 112.29, maybe a 28. So GG to Sin. Also nice cutscene over there.
He finished 0 seconds. He won.
Wow. That's got to be a new world record.
That's a world record for sure. Congrats to Sin.
Yeah, congrats to Sin. Congrats to Hal on his victory. Sort of showing us some of the cutscenes, some of the additional lore of the game that we don't get to see ordinarily. So yeah, GG to both of them. I don't know whether interview double check the schedule to see what's going on there, but I think we'll probably be closing up shop pretty shortly, and we'll sort of tell everyone coming up next as far as Ori Rando.
We still have plenty of very interesting matches left to go today.
Well, that's definitely true. So I don't see Sin in our on deck channel, so I'm just going to assume they, after that, it's pretty understandable that you want to go and relax. So we have no more Ori immediately right afterwards, but we have more Ori later today. Specifically, we have a match at 8 p.m. Eastern, so that's in only about an hour from now, actually. That is going to be a match between, let me check, because I forgot to write it down. It's going to be between Gecko and Trojan. Trojan Dude and Gecko. So if you've enjoyed watching Rando today, make sure you check back on the channel, Speed Gaming 2, in about an hour. We actually have 2 more matches tonight, both on Speed Gaming 2, but the first one is in about an hour. Oh, and actually I was wrong. I do see Sil in our on deck channel, so I am going to bring him in for a quick interview because I believe we have time. Hi, what's up?
Oh.
I just sort of pulled you in here without warning, so apologies. But GG on finishing.
Yeah, thanks.
Athos, do you want to... I have questions, but I think I'll toss to you if you want.
That was one heck of a seed with this really, really quick start. And what did you think of it? You got charge jumping immediately bash. How did that feel?
You're cutting out, sorry.
Yeah, you got the charge jump very early in the game and then got the bash. How did that feel? That was an interesting start for a rando seed.
Interesting indeed. At first I was very confident because I had some nice pace in my opinion, or at least for my standards. But then there came the point where I realized I'm missing some basic stuff or some basic jumps, where I got stuck for some time and had to check more things. Yeah,
it's got really unlucky when you were clearing Grotto and then missed the wall jump, but just a hair.
Yeah,
a bit of a troll spot for it.
Well, wall jump was behind the storm block door in the boulder area, right? Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, when I was there first, I wasn't able to go there anyways, so I just dropped it and went somewhere else.
Yeah, I want to ask you about knowledge, specifically that zombie ori that you did to get into the light grenade. Is zombie ori something that before this seed you knew how to do comfortably?
No, that was even the first time I even tried it.
Oh, see, that's what it looked like. That's what I wanted to ask about. Yeah.
Especially I even did it twice. I did it somewhere around 30 minutes, a minute-ish once. And it failed horribly, and I was, and then I just thought I'd go somewhere else. Maybe I find Dash, and at the end, where I had every tree except Light Grenade, I just thought I could drag it out much more and search for Dash, or I just can't try it again. And I tried it again, and afterwards I was too happy that I got this trick that is for me kind of hard, or at least looks kind of hard for me. Yeah, cutscene and stuff. You saw it, and.
You were just providing everyone with lore.
Yeah, lore is important, people.
It must have been nice to see that you had 26 ability points. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't even know why. I just looked for too much stuff, I guess. And speaking of sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I just was like, speaking of 20 minutes, I don't know if you mentioned it. I pressed the wrong button, but it was like a 20-minute PB for me, I think, so.
Was it really?
Oh wow, congrats, dude.
Yeah.
That's a
Thanks.
huge PB. Yeah, definitely congratulations. That's awesome. I want to ask just a few more questions.
Okay, go.
I guess the first one is oh my god, I had a question and I totally forgot it. What was I gonna say? Did you, when you were faced with sort of that decision at the end, you know, knowing that you didn't have dash, was there any part of you that considered just continuing to search for dash, or did you pretty well just decide, nope, we're just gonna, you know, rush to the end and find some way through the laser?
I was kind of torn apart there, especially at the point where I arrived at the Swarm TP. I was like, I could check the whole right side now because I have almost everything for it. And given I have grenade, there are some more spots I could check. Or on the other hand, why not just try a trick I never did before in a tournament race, but while it was already over. So.
Sure. Well, Athos, what about you? Any other?
Yeah, I have one last question. When you finally broke into left side, you went into Misty, and very quickly after that, you got that really nice wind restored. So we noticed you seemed to not be going for double bashes, and doing the double bash Sorrow entry is pretty difficult. So how did that feel to finally get that ability to go up to Sorrow right after?
That was pretty nice for me, but I think it was nicer for the stream overall, since that was another thing where it was like either I find wind restored or the TP, or I have to search for it. So, and double bash, I can't do them, and I know there's the DAL, but I never looked at it, and the only double bash I'm able to are accidentally.
It's the best kind of double dash.
And the very last question, you did that beautiful out of bounds with the tumbleweed right there in Sorrow.
Oh, God.
And I honestly, me and Grim, we've never seen that before, and so to have it happen in a tournament, that was quite something.
Yeah, I mean, that was an accident, so if there's any rule thing, I'm sorry, but it was really an accident.
Of course, don't worry about it.
And I don't even think it gave me something. But at first I was like, really, what about the rules? Where am I? It was another question, because and I even forgot where the map button is. Yeah, but that was something that caught me by surprise too. But I think everything is fine.
Yeah, it's all fine. That out of bounds
Okay.
is
Okay.
so clearly accidental that it doesn't matter. And it didn't gain you an advantage either, because you just had to go back around the same spot where.
Yeah, I even had that pickup that was there. I got it before already, so.
Cool. Well, and any final questions, Athos?
No, that's all for me.
Well, thanks for talking with us, and GG on finishing out that seed. That was cool.
Good game.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, that'll about do it for us here. As I said, there's no more Ori instantly right now, but if you wait 48 more minutes, we'll have 2 more matches on Speed Gaming 2. Thank you to Tara for restreaming, and on this match, thank you to Skull and Meldon helping us out in the truck. And Athos, fun commentating.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Cool. We will see you all in a little bit. Bye.